Hello everyone. So this session is a continuation of the previous session and we'll try to see some more variety of problems in this session. So before we go further, let's try to understand the relationship between elasticity and total expenditure. The total expenditure is the total amount of money that you spend on the goods that you have purchased. So it is nothing but it depends on the price of the good and the quantity of demand. So total expenditure is equal to price times quantity demanded. Now let's try to understand this in more detail. So I have price, quantity demanded and total revenue. Suppose my price increases by 10%, the quantity demanded decreases by more than 10% because here we are talking about elastic goods. Likewise, suppose my price decreases by 10%, in that case my quantity demanded will increase by more than 10%, say 15%, because as I said, we are talking about elastic goods. Okay, now let's try to understand what happens to the total revenue in both the cases with the help of an example. Now let's look at this example here. Initially, suppose the price is set to 100 and quantity demanded is also 100. Okay. Now let's take the first case when price increases by 10%, which means from 100 the price has gone to 110. So you can see 110 in this table here. And when price is 110, what happens to the quantity demanded? It decreases. It decreases by say around 15%. So from 100, the quantity demanded has gone to 85. Likewise, let's take the second case when price decreases by 10%. So from 100, now the price is 90 and quantity demanded increases by 15%. So from 100, the quantity demanded has gone to 115. Okay. Now in both the cases, let's calculate the total revenue. So in the first case, we all know that total revenue is equal to price times quantity. So simply take the product of both. And in the first case, the total revenue is around 9,350. In the second case, the total revenue is around 10,350. So you have seen that in the first case, the total revenue has gone down. And in the second case, the total revenue has increased. Now, this is the case of unitary elastic goods. So, unitary elastic means the price elasticity is exactly equal to 1. So, which means if there is a 5% increase in the price, there is a 5% decrease in the quantity demanded, right? So, suppose you take this example here. Initially, the quantity demanded, say it was around 100, and suppose the price was also 100. Now, suppose the price increases by 5%, which means that the price goes to 105. The quantity demanded decreases exactly by 5%. So from 100, it comes down to 95. So my total revenue is 9,975. Now take the other way around. Suppose my price decreases by 5% and my quantity demanded increases exactly by 5%. So if my price is 95, the quantity demanded has increased from 100 to 105. So even in this case, my total revenue is 9,975. So this goes to show that for unitary elastic goods, the total revenue is constant. What happens in case of inelastic goods? So suppose I make different columns here. Let's try to take an example. So I have price, I have quantity demanded, and I have total revenue. So what do you mean by inelastic goods? If my price decreases by 10%, my quantity demanded increases but less than 10%. Okay, so say I take only 5% increase in quantity demanded. So let's see what happens to the total revenue later on. Now, likewise, when my price increases by 10%, my quantity demanded decreases only by 5%, which means it is less than 10%. So let's take an example here. Look at this table. So let's again assume that my initial quantity was 100 and my price was also 100. So take the first case, price decreases by 10% means from 100 my price goes to 90. Quantity demanded increases by 5% means from 100 now my quantity demanded is 105. So if I calculate my total revenue, which is nothing but price times quantity. It is around 9,450. Take the second case when price increases by 10%, which means from 100, now my price is 110. Quantity demanded decreases by 5% means now my quantity demanded is 95. So again, my total revenue is price times quantity. So it is 10,450. So looking at the numbers, you can clearly see that in the first case, my total revenue has decreased, whereas in the second case, my total revenue has increased. So this is the relationship between elasticity and total expenditure. Now, sometimes there are certain goods and services which do not really follow the law of demand. Say, for example, as you can see in this picture, let's talk about an oncologist. Oncologist means a physician who deals with cancer. So let's talk about an oncologist whose service is very specialized and he deals with a very special case of cancer. And there are no substitutes for this service in the market. Okay. So in that case, irrespective of whether the price decreases or increases, so in this case, irrespective of whether his fees increases or decreases, the demand for this physician will always remain constant. Okay. So such kinds of goods and services where there is absolutely no change in the quantity demanded when the price of such goods changes, then it is called a case of perfect inelasticity. Now let's try to understand this situation here. What do you see in the picture? So you have a bunch of sellers who are trying to sell lemonade sitting in the park. And we all know that lemonade is a very general product and very homogeneous in nature because almost all the sellers try to sell the same kind of lemonade. Okay. So now let's see what happens when there are price changes to such kind of a product. So suppose the initial price is $2 per glass and this seller has almost lot of customers in the market. Now, if the price changes from $2 to $2.5 per glass, the quantity demanded immediately falls to 0. On the other hand, there is another seller here who decreases the price from $2 to $1.5 per glass and he grabs almost all the customers in the market. Okay. So what is the idea behind this? Small changes in price lead to very large changes in the quantity demanded. Okay. If the price increases by a very small amount, the quantity demanded becomes 0. On the other hand, if the price decreases even by a very small amount, the quantity demanded increases by a very large amount. Okay. So this is called a case of perfect elasticity of demand. So how does the graph look like in case of perfect elasticity and perfect inelasticity? So let's first talk about perfectly elastic demand. So we know that in case of perfect elasticity, the price has to remain constant. The moment you change the price or the moment you increase the price, your demand quickly becomes 0. The quantity demanded quickly becomes 0. So in this case, my graph should look like this, which is nothing but a horizontal demand curve. Okay. So this indicates that price always has to remain constant. In case of perfect inelasticity, the quantity demanded always remains constant, irrespective of whether the price increases or decreases. So in this case, I get a vertical line as my demand curve. Okay. So when there is a horizontal demand curve, then it's a case of perfectly elastic demand. And when there is a vertical demand curve, it's a case of perfectly inelastic demand. Now let's try to solve these two problems. So let's look at problem 6. There is an FMCG company which manufactures in a perfectly competitive market, which means there are a lot of substitutes in the market. And this is a case of perfect competition, just like we saw in the case of the lemonade example. So in this case, my demand curve is horizontal, vertical, or downward sloping and linear. Definitely, as we talked about this earlier as well, In case of perfectly competitive market, the demand curve is horizontal. So option A is the correct answer. Moving on to the next problem. A company's product manager analyzes the demand for an expensive designer jewelry and observes that an increase in the price of a specific design leads to an increase in the sales of that product. So it's very clear that we are talking about an expensive designer jewelry, which is actually a luxury good. Okay. And based on his observation, the product is inferior good, normal good, or Veblen good. It's definitely not an inferior good. It's also not a normal good, because in this case, when the price increases, the quantity demanded also increases. So it's definitely the case of a Veblen good. Okay, so we talked about Veblen goods earlier as well. So Veblen goods are those goods which are highly luxurious in nature, they are highly coveted, and they represent status symbols. So this is an exception to the law of demand. And in case of Veblen goods, whenever there is an increase in price, the price increase is actually considered as a status symbol, and the quantity demanded for such kind of goods also increases. Now let's look at this example. So here is a table, and you have different elasticities for 3 different goods: gold, diamond, and coal. Okay, and based on the table, you need to make inferences about all of these 3 goods. Okay, now let's do it one by one. Let's look at income elasticity. So we can see that the income elasticity for gold and diamond is positive, which is 1.4 and 1.5, but it is negative for coal, which is minus 0.5. Now, we all know that positive income elasticity means higher the income, higher is the quantity demanded for goods. Okay, and what are they called? They are called normal goods. On the other hand, negative income elasticity means higher the income, lower is the quantity demanded for such kind of goods. So clearly we can see that coal is an inferior good. Okay, now moving on to the next one, own price elasticity. The own price elasticity for gold is minus 1.2, for diamond it is minus 0.9, and for coal it is minus 1.34. Now just look at the absolute values. So if you look at the absolute values, you can see that gold and coal have price elasticities greater than 1. So which means the demand for these 2 goods are highly elastic in nature, and the price elasticity for diamond is less than 1, although it is very near to 1. But the demand here for diamond is slightly inelastic in nature. Okay. Now the last one, cross price elasticity with some other good Y. Okay. So the cross price elasticity for gold is 1.85. So it's a positive cross price elasticity, which means probably gold and good Y could be substitutes of each other. Moving on to diamond, the cross price elasticity of diamond with good Y is minus 0.45, which is negative. So this indicates that diamond and good Y could be complement products. Okay. And lastly, the cross price elasticity of coal with good Y is 0.82, which is again positive. So very clearly, these 2 products are substitutes of each other. Okay. So these are the inferences that we can make about gold, diamond, and coal. Now moving on to the next problem. The substitution effect of a change in the price of a good is, let's look at the first option, identical for normal and inferior goods? Definitely not. Okay. So in case, what happens in case of normal goods, the substitution effect is much more, because the income effect also reinforces the substitution effect. So the change in the quantity demanded is very high as compared to an inferior good, because in case of inferior good, the income effect actually pulls the quantity demanded in the opposite direction. So the substitution effect is not identical for normal and inferior goods. It is actually more in case of normal goods rather than inferior goods. Second option, reinforced by the income effect for an inferior good. Now this is also not correct because it is reinforced by the income effect for a normal good, not an inferior good. So going by this, option 3 should be the correct option. So it depends on the nature of the good. So whether it is a normal good or an inferior good, the substitution effect is different in case of different goods.